In this episode of Where the Keys At, I am joined by some guests with a much higher fashion sense than me. And we're going to be talking all things sneaker culture, fashion culture, maybe some handbag culture too. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Where the Keys At. My name is Eli. I'm in the building, but I'm not with the boys today. I'm with a whole new crew. I've got some special guests, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves, starting on my left here.
I'm Amy. I am a lecturer and a designer.
And over that side?
I'm Dawson. I work for Openreach. I climb poles every day.
Nice.
Carnell, sneaker fanatic, I guess. Yeah, musician. Do the doing it.
Cool. And I've got you all here, like, not necessarily because of what you do, but what you're into and, like, what your opinions are about certain things. So thanks for coming on today into our tiny little studio. And, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what you bring. First of all, I want to start by how you look and by how I look. So this is how I look. Everyone knows I come in my slippers and my greasy T-shirts. But I am very concerned with fashion, but I'm just very cheap and not very daring. So I'm glad I've got you guys all on because you look amazing, like, compared to toe. So thank you.
Well, you're giving blank canvas.
Yeah.
You're giving open to knowledge.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to, this kind of hit me the other day. I was watching a movie that we actually just spoke about. Has anyone seen Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse?
No.
Is it Across the Spider-Verse?
Yeah. The first one's in 2 and the second one's across.
Yeah. So there's a Spider-Man animated movie, right? And it's the black Spider-Man. So it's like me and my son watched the first one, watched the second one. We went there and I loved it. And I was a bit cautious the first time around because I thought, how are they going to use the culture in this movie to try and sell this superhero to a new audience? And I thought they'd done it really well. The second movie, however, had a moment in it that made me just pause. He wears the Jordan 1s, the red and the blacks, yeah? He wore them in the first one, or the red and whites. They were just there. It was subtle. But in the second one, he comes to his flatmate, or whatever, his dorm roommate, and he's got the shoes on. They do a close-up of the shoes, and he goes, "Are they my Jordans?" And he goes, "Oh, yeah, I thought I could borrow them." And he takes the Jordans, and then the next thing he's got the Jordans on his feet, and they kind of pan up. And I thought, is our culture now for sale?
From the first Spider-Man cartoon one, they had an actual pair of Jordans. The Jordan he wears in them were particularly made for that cartoon, and they released them as an actual Jordan that you could buy. So that from that first film, that was definitely a big thing. They made a huge thing about the actual Spider-Man Jordan ones.
Yeah. And they chose to pair that with how many Spider-Man movies have we had before? And they chose to pair that with Miles Morales. And I just thought they're exploiting the culture. We know, especially black people, sneaker culture is worldwide, but especially black people in America, we're quick to spend our money on Jordans and trainers.
It's definitely become more of a thing as well, just with the general public. Like, you probably notice it working in the college, like, everyone thinks they're a sneakerhead. I don't really like that term anyway.
Everyone thinks
weird.
Not everyone's got a cupboard full of trainers like me.
No, it's not even that.
You need to tell everyone who you are, really. Cause
This is just a weird thing. Like, I don't know if you feel the same.
It's a horrible term. I hate it.
Yeah.
It makes me feel sick. I don't want to be tarred with that.
Yeah.
I think if you collect shoes, that's a passion you have for that. It's quite a long passion. It's not sort of this just jumping onto something.
Yeah.
And, this is the new hype thing, so you're just about that.
Yeah.
It's part of your life, really. Like, you look out for what's coming, what retros might be coming out, what you've missed. It's not just jumping on the hype where 3 months ago everybody was wearing Jordan 4s.
Yeah.
Before that was Jordan 1s. You want to sort of lead your own path and not just jump in what everybody else is wearing.
So can I stop you both, and maybe you, Amy, as well? I don't know if you're self-confessed.
Don't stop me, I haven't said anything.
Sneakerhead. But ask all three of you the obvious question, like, how many pairs of trainers do you buy regularly, or how many do you have?
I've cut down massively this year.
Yeah, I have
massively. One because it's hard out here in the streets. The cos he lives is killing us all. Secondly, because it's harder to get the ones I want. It's just not the same anymore. Yeah. And thirdly, because I'm 40 now, and like have to grow up a bit.
Okay, cool. You still haven't given me an answer though.
How many do I have?
Yeah.
I'm scared to count.
Wow.
250 probably.
250, yeah?
Wow.
Okay.
Something like that.
Yeah, but that's like 20 years plus.
More, yeah.
Yeah.
I started collecting when I was at school, so like when I was 15.
Yeah.
And are they all like available for rotation or?
No, the older ones, unless you're wearing them regularly, the sole will crumble. And there's a few pairs I pulled out this year to put on. I wore them and then looked down. Oh, the sole's crumbled.
Are they on display?
No.
Oh. So where are they? Sorry.
I don't want to say on here, innit, because I might get robbed, Joey.
Hidden from
They're in a
everyone.
secure lockup.
Yeah, secure location.
Okay, so 250. How about yourself?
I think about 150 to 180.
No way.
I think I did peaked at about, probably was about 240, 250.
Wow.
But you think that, oh yeah, I've got all these shoes, this is great. You start piling up shoe boxes, like that suddenly starts taking up a lot of space. But then it's also,
Fire hazard.
it's not that. Like you're trying to get.
That's all I think. of.
You think of a pair. Oh, I'd like to wear them. It's like, well, where the hell are they? And then you start just tearing through boxes, and it's like, oh, no, this. I've got them like my bedroom. I've got a cupboard under the stairs. It's probably got like 140 pairs in. I got them in the shed. It's just like you'd think, oh, I want to wear that pair. You ain't got a clue where it is. So it's like,
So you got 3 pairs in rotation, basically.
I think I've got 20 pairs that are in my bedroom.
That's
That
still loads.
I'll just on a day I just pull them out if I'm not doing anything sort of particular.
Yeah.
I think most people that I know that are heavy into it, that have been for years, they all wish they could cut their collection down. You wish we didn't have as many.
That sounds like addicts, right?
Yeah.
That's how addicts be. Like,
Oh, I know I've got an issue. I know I have.
it's not a bad one though, right? It's an issue you can
I
afford.
don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I don't gamble, I don't do any of it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. How about you, Amy?
I've got about 5. Like
Okay.
a normal person. But what's not normal about mine is that I, in the last, I'd say 5 years, will only wear 4 types. So I will wear white Air Force Ones, Stan Smiths, only white. I will.
But they're not the regular, they're Kermits, aren't they?
Yeah, but I mean, you know, within reason. I've got the Parley ones as well. And then I'll wear Air Max 90s and these little Adidas torsion EQ things, which are just, but it's more like a comfort vibe. It's not, I will wear them in any colour, no matter how. I had one pair that was all green. They were so ugly, but it's, I don't know, it's more of a, I'll just buy them because they're that. But those ones are really expensive. So I can only really find them like the outlet or whatever. But yeah, I won't really stray from those. So I have my own weird way of going about wearing trainers, but it's not like that. No judgment. So actually, some judgment.
What made you stick on those sort of 5 pairs?
Just comfort, I think. The
Stan Smiths are uncomfortable though.
And
Yeah, they are.
Ones uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Nothing there. You've chosen.
I love this. These guys are experts. You're selling these shoes, and I knew the Air Force Ones. That's all I knew.
No, the Air Force Ones, that got into a weird thing because every time I would go to this trade show in Paris, I would buy a new pair to go. So that was how that, and since I haven't been to that trade show, I haven't bought a new pair. I'd have to buy a new pair every time, which was like, it was only every 6 months. But yeah, they were like my work shoes. So yeah, I think they're comfortable, but maybe it's because my feet are weird.
When I speak to people that, again, aren't heavy into it, and they'll say, shoes are so comfortable, I'm like, you're crazy, man. But that's because you haven't tried this.
You know the range.
Yeah.
Trying
You
a
know
pair of
the
Ultra
range.
Boost.
That's
a level of comfort.
me sitting in
That's like
my
walking on
little
the flump,
Toyota
man.
Prius, and I'm like, this is comfortable. And then someone like, you ain't never driven these Benz before.
Yeah.
But so you all have different uses, I guess, for this fashion, right? You go for function, you guys go for variety, and I go for price. I was going to ask, what kind of impact do you think it has on your life? Does it make a change on your kind of quality of life?
Absolutely not. No. Like,
No?
I think it does.
If you took what I'm wearing now, right? This is a pair of shoes that came out in 2008, I think.
Yeah.
It's an Adidas ZX 9000 crooked tongues. If I walk along the street, 99.9% of people are going to have no clue what that is. That to them, I'm just wearing a grey and yellow pair of Adidas. I mean, I put that on and I know inside, oh yeah, I'm wearing something quite nice.
That's why for me it does have an effect, because like we said when we met up a little while ago, like you like having that. I know what I've got on.
You do want that sort of feeling of I've made a concerted choice about what I'm going to wear.
Yeah.
And you sort of hunted them down. Most of the shoes I probably both of us have, you couldn't just sort of pop into JD Sports and buy. You've had to be lucky, win a raffle, find someone that's selling a pair.
Win a raffle.
Win a raffle for the chance to buy the shoe, not win a raffle for free.
I've seen that before, I think. I didn't know you had to buy it. No, I didn't know you had to buy it. I thought you were getting a raffle to... Because you post stuff up, right? And you're like, this raffle, so I'm like, oh, he's going to win some trainers.
No, you win the opportunity to buy them.
Yeah.
Oh. So they're really exploiting you then?
Oh, yeah. Like,
that's crazy.
It's the Nike sneakers app. So they normally sort of release Thursday, Friday, Saturday sort of thing. You have to enter a draw in the hopes of being chosen for the honour of paying them 150 quid or wherever it may be to buy the shoe.
Wow.
That came out of things just getting stupid in the streets, though. Like, there used to be, you'd camp out overnight.
Yeah.
And that was cool. Like, you'd meet people, you'd meet a community of people. Because it is a community. Like, when you're in it, like, I've gone to people's weddings.
That's where I wanted to go with the quality of life thing. Does it change? Has it changed your life socially? Or?
It has socially for me, yeah. Like, we've gotten closer since...
Yeah.
We've both, like I used to work in the Swan, obviously, and he'd come in and we'd have a chat and be like, oh, cool, we're going today. And then we went to an event in London, Crip City barbecue, I think it was the first one we went to, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, with Luke.
Yeah, and then from then, we've became friends as a result of that. So, and I've met people through groups that Dawson's added me to online, that it's nice to have someone that understands and doesn't think you're a weirdo.
Yeah.
Do you think this is quite a masculine?
There's loads of girls.
Yeah, loads.
Like,
Yeah, but just like the way that you're talking is, I'm getting like quite a lot of masculine energy, particularly what you were saying about the kind of the chase of it. Like that was just reminding me of how people talk about pursuing people that they are attracted to.
Oh no, see, I feel like you've got that the complete wrong way. If you took it in the actual like proper geeky nerdy level, it's exactly as like chasing a Pokemon card. That's the kind of thing. So you have a rarer pair and you're trying to get that. It's that kind of world. It's not like sort of...
Do you wish that people would understand how much effort has gone into it, or do you like that they don't?
No, I suppose if I saw Carnell on the street, saw his shoes, I'd be like, oh, they're nice. Nice shoes. And if I saw a stranger with a nice pair of shoes, I'd compliment them. I don't feel any way about that. And I think because you feel like you're sort of part of this little club where others will sort of notice, the people in that club notice as well, where your normal average person, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to them. Yeah. It matters to me and the people who are also in that little world.
This is the thing. I didn't get into shoes to please or to be cool, because it wasn't cool when I started. I was a weirdo. Like, you've only got 2 feet, mate. Like, you don't need to lose, do you know what I mean? And yeah, I like that not everyone knows, because it's my thing. You know, like people that collect stamps or collect comic books or whatever it is, that's their thing. And I like that. But then it's also nice to meet other people that also understand and feel the same way.
I teach design history and theory. And I it started off because I was just thinking kind of, where are all the black designers? That was my motivation. I worked as a textile designer for like the best part of 10 years. And then that all changed in COVID. So that was my motivation for pursuing the course. But then once I started doing it, I realised that there was a lot more to just where are all the black designers. It was more why are they not present in fashion history? And so kind of uncovering that stuff, I focused a lot on the colonial period, because I feel like that was actually the start of the commodification of black culture and black style. And that's kind of what I've uncovered in my research. And so I look now at the continuities between that and our present way of buying and the current fashion system, and also our language and the way that we talk about style. So
is sneaker culture actually intrinsically linked to black culture, or is it?
I feel like there's two separate
Yeah,
parts of it.
you've got very defined kind of worlds in some of these things.
Yeah.
So you would have like the kind of hip hop, b-boy, that kind
Basketball.
of that kind of Americanized one.
Yeah.
But then you have sort of like the casuals. So like the kind of football hooligan stemmed from that.
The
Stemmed
terraces.
from-
Yeah, for
stem-
Like
terraces,
that
yeah.
special
Yeah,
thing.
so
Yeah.
they love a Stoney, they love Adidas Specials, like Hamburgs, Trim Trabs. They all wear sort of blue jeans. These
Right.
That very northern England, like the Gallaghers, that kind of style,
Yeah.
Parker coats, and yeah.
where they put in an immense amount of money into their clothing, and that's sort of, I think that all stemmed from when they used to go in Europe. I think that started off from when they went into Europe and they found Stone Island, and that sort of became their badge.
Yeah.
Like a Stone Island jacket is not cheap.
Yeah.
But if you go to any football match, you can see hundreds, thousands of them.
Yeah.
But it's the same with their shoes. The sort of casual line of shoes, some of those are ridiculously expensive.
Yeah, because they love New Balance now as well, don't they?
Oh, they're into them now.
Yeah.
It's very quiet, that side of things, though, I find. I mean, I follow...
It's not as flashy, is it?
No, and it's not as well known either. I don't think... I mean, I only came across it because I started following, I think, is it that Robert Brooks guy? I think he's a designer.
Oh, Robert Brooksy?
Yeah, I think he's a designer for Adidas
He
or
had
something.
he's a huge Adidas collector.
Yeah.
And then there was this thing in Argentina. They found this shop run by this bloke called Carlos, and I think it was Gary Aspen, I think is his name.
Yeah.
Robert Brooksy, and I think a couple of other people went over to Argentina because this bloke's shop hadn't changed since like the 80s. It still had sort of tracksuits in Adidas boxes, all these forgotten Adidas trainers. So they went over there and made a documentary about that. And Carlos, the shop owner, got a shoe for himself with his little face on. I think Robert Brooksy, he designed a shoe off the back of that. And there was a shoe, I can't remember what the shoe for the life of me was. This shoe that he'd always hunted down, never found. I think he found it there in the box, opened up the box, and like the sole has just turned to dust. And but that's the thrill of the chase for him. Like he's gone to a whole different continent with that hope that, you know, that shoe is going to be there.
Yeah.
I met him before at Crep City. The nicest bloke.
I was just interested in him as a black man being kind of central to that culture, which is quite like white and football centric. So I was more interested on his kind of role in that, his position. I mean, it seems nice and everything, but I was just kind of wondering like what his experiences might be in that. And also I used to collect Adidas, and then I kind of went off it when but don't feel as much joy about wearing it as I did then. So I think that was where my interest in him kind of came from.
Are we really just buying the designs though? Because I know there's brands behind it, and we all know these brands don't necessarily have our interests at heart as a community. But when you buy Nike, I bet you've got more Nike than any other brand, right?
I have, yeah.
Are
Is that
you?
You're more Adidas, no?
Yeah, I think it's about 50-50 Nike and Adidas. I think there may be a few more Nike, but
is it the brand you're celebrating, the history of the brand, Phil Knight or whatever, or is it about the things associated with that particular
A lot
design?
for me is nostalgia.
yeah.
Right.
Same as you, like, you know, we're the same age, both came up listening to hip hop and basketball and loving all those things, and a lot of it was attached to that. That's where it came from for me. Like, I remember the shoe that started for me, like, I've got it tattooed on my leg. Like, do you know what I mean? It's
What was it?
Jordan 7 Bordeaux.
Jordan 7 Bordeaux.
I remember seeing it, wanting it,
Yeah.
and my dad would only buy me something expensive birthday and Christmas.
Yeah.
And my birthday was coming up. So I was like, that's the shoe I want. And I remember having, like, counting down the days. Got them, and I remember walking down the street and just feeling like I was on top of the world. And that's where it all started for me.
Well, I'll tell you where mine could have started, but didn't start because I was just broke. So the Jordan 8s with the little crossover bit,
strap,
come out. And I remember seeing them and I thought, they were in Westworld Sports, so they're probably fake as well, right? I don't know, Westworld, if your stuff was fake or not. People used to say it was.
Yeah, careful.
But they don't exist anymore, I don't think. Anyway, went into
I
Westworld.
don't feel like Westworld. I feel they might have had a few moody things, but I think they had a good contract at the time.
This was, how old were they? Been 93, 94, I guess.
Yeah, 93.
And these were like £140. Yeah, he could have started there.
And I think I remember why it started with that, because before that, because I was poor, and I remember I had this shell suit that I loved, but the only footwear I had was some brown brogues. Yeah, exactly. So I had to walk in a shell suit. And the shell suit was like turquoisey and purple, like proper bright and out there, you know, early 90s, late 80s kind of thing. And I had these brown bus-up brogues, and they were like scuffed because that was the only footwear I had. So I played football in them. I'd go to church in them. I'd go to Caribbean Club in them, like to every event in these. So when I got these Jordans, it was a massive deal that I was like, yeah, I feel good now.
I think also there was a clear transition for us, girls and guys in different ways, of footwear. Like it did have a function as a kid for me. I can only speak for me, I guess. My son is 14. His shoes, it's never been about function. It's always been about, do they look good from when he's 4, 5, 6 years old? But I had shoes that I could run in. My mum would buy me shoes that these are going to last you. You know, you can kick football in these.
I remember having dedicated playing out shoes.
Yes.
And you had a pair of shoes for best. Like that was, I remember that. And I remember probably only being like 5 or 6 and going and buying like a really crap pair of shoes. But to me, like, these are nice. These are just some little black things, gum sole on them. I'm like, these are lovely. Thinking they're going to be my new best shoes. My mum's like, oh, you can go out and play when you get home. She's like, you can wear your new shoes. I lost my mind. I'm going out to play in a brand new pair of shoes.
I still feel away about that. Like, I just got them.
Yeah.
Can I just say, look at fashion, because like all of these conversations, this is like sociology, it's philosophy. So I just want to say that fashion is not a superficial world to actually do this work. And I'm just sitting here feeling like kind of smug, because I love that about it. People don't realize like the different kind of conversations that come out of it and how much it generates. And I just want to big up fashion for that.
But I also feel that's why brands like Nike have exploited the black community, because they know that. Like,
you think they have, do you?
Oh, massively. Massively. Like, I don't know if you've seen the film Air about the Jordan 1.
I really like that, yeah.
But then there's a bit in it where the guy's like, no, it wasn't. Something else I watched, and they said black kids and white kids in middle America all wearing Jordans. And that they knew Michael Jordan is figurehead, like, you know, to some people the GOAT. I know you're LeBron, right?
Yeah.
So, but let's not get onto that right now. Okay.
We'll talk
but they took that and they saw that every black kid wants to be like Mike.
Yeah.
And they've exploited that throughout the years.
Yeah.
And still are today.
Yeah. But now, these kids don't know who Michael Jordan is.
No.
And that's what hurts me the most, right? I see people wearing like Jordan 4s or whatever, and I think...
Yeah, but Dave did that lyric, innit? Jordan 1s or Jordan 4s. So all the kids want 1s and 4s.
Oh, right. Is that where that comes from? But should you know? And am I just being obsessive with something that was of my childhood?
How many people nowadays know who Stan Smith is? It's just the name of the shoe to most people now. I'm super geeky about this. I have loads of books about shoes and streetwear. So I know it's sort of like the history about quite a lot of shoes. I'm really into that, about the history and why and where but
I'm surprised you don't feel more strongly in that case, because you know what that actually represents, or what it's supposed to represent, or what era, or what movement necessarily, and then kids are just putting them on because a rapper talked about it.
I've got kids, and so from the day they're born, they've always had nice shoes. They don't care, like they just go in. I like that pair. It doesn't mean anything. There's no story for them. There's no kind of. My first pair that I fell in love with was Jordan 5, start of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah.
When he's sitting there spinning around on the chair, I'm like, that's a shoe that needs to be mine. That has to be mine. I mean, I can pretty much remember that moment so vividly. But nowadays, kids don't have that. Most of them are wearing retro shoes, so there's no kind of
new shoes.
That excitement of this is a new model.
Yeah.
But also something that's exciting to us because of a certain amount of nostalgia. You have to remember that as teenagers, more than likely our kids are going to reject it and then realise how cool we are in about 10 years' time.
I hope so.
Instantly, they're not, my son used to dress like, he mostly used to dress like the Joker for a good 3 or 4 years.
The Batman Joker.
Yeah.
What, a purple suit?
Green shorts and a purple polo shirt like every day, like, and I know it was just to annoy me, like rain or shine. I used to go, but now he's really into it, and he loves the things that I buy him, and he loves that I will like put him onto little brands and stuff like that. That there was a few years where he was decidedly like anti-fashion. So I think because we might say, oh, they're Jordans, you don't even know, they've got no interest in it, because they're also like, there's a little bit of rebellion there in not caring about it. But I do think that in like a decade, they'll be like, have you still got that on?
It bothers me a bit when I see kids, you know, like when
It must.
you've
You've
got
invested so much.
you've got an artist that you love and no one knows about, and then everyone knows about them. You thought, oh, that's they're mine. Like,
Yes.
it bothers me a little bit like that. But then at the same time, like, who am I? I'm not a gatekeeper of anything. I can't control what someone's into or what they're not.
But if someone is kind of doing their homework and actually really appreciates it, then surely they're part of the club, and that's the difference. It is a club, right? It's a knowledge club. It's an investment club, like vinyl collectors or wherever.
Yeah, it is a community for sure.
So, but
again,
the problem is, most of
who's
these
the
kids wearing
gatekeeper?
these trainers, they've got the money. That's what vexed me, first of all. How can you afford these trainers? And they're buying it to show off, to
Some of
make
the
you
kids
think they know what's going on.
I see,
but
and when
they
I'm
don't
taking
know
Elijah
what's
to
going on.
school,
Yeah.
it is wild. I think I said to you, didn't I, when I saw you? There's some kid, he had Jordan 4 Black Cats on. Like, if you didn't get them for retail, you're talking 400, 500 pounds, wearing them to school.
Damn.
Then he had a Supreme North Face rucksack on.
Yeah.
Mad money again. And I think he had like a Montclair gilet on. I'm like,
Why are you following my son?
But it's so...
that's not your son, is it? For real? Nah.
No, my son's coat is the North Face Cause one.
Okay.
So how does the culture move forward then? Is it going to just be an online thing? Because a lot of us, not everyone
It
lives
pretty
in,
much is now, man.
you know, these big cities, do they?
It pretty much is now.
Yeah, I think there was so much sort of violence happen
Really?
from people queuing.
That's
for
kind of where I was
shoes.
going before, yeah.
And they've had to put a stop to sort of first come, first served, people camping overnight. So it is pretty much all online.
In fact, one shop did that with the Spider-Man Jordan 1 that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
I think it was in the London one when it opened up, and there was kids throwing chairs, like just fighting and
Jesus Christ.
rocking in the street. So it annoys me that you have to do the raffle thing, but at the same time I understand it. Like if they don't, that shop's going to have to then pay for security to be outside their shop to try and quell that. And then you also get people that work in the shop sending them to their mates, backdrawing them.
Yeah.
Which you can't stop either.
Like every app already has sort of a raffle page already built into them.
Yeah.
So you just go to like their launchers page,
Yeah.
enter the raffle, you win or you don't.
Wow. Can you truly have an authentic culture solely online? Do you think?
Solely.
Solely. Because
I think
I've done it on purpose. See that?
Nice.
There's big sneaker conventions that happen every few months.
Yeah.
I think last month there was Soul Block in I think it's Glasgow. I think the month before that might have been I think there was one in like Bristol or somewhere like that. Then there's
Crep City in Newcastle when I was there.
yeah, they have big events all the time.
All over the world as well, by the way.
Just because they're huge money maker machines.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? There's probably a research paper in that.
For you.
I've just got to finish the one I'm doing at the moment, mate.
So do you guys have, and you with fashion as well, you already said with your son you have a lot of influence on him. Do you have influence on the people around you in your household? Because my thing is I'm into tech. I'm just obsessed with tech. And people in my house can't have crap tech. Like they've got to have the stuff that I think is good enough.
Yeah.
And they're very aware. And even my great extended family won't buy things without calling me saying, yo, is this what I should be doing? Do you think you have that influence on the people around you?
I mean, no one in my house is wearing a crap pair of shoes. No one in my house is wearing a crap pair of shoes. No one in my house is having a single pair of shoes. Like at my 7-year-old, we were looking the other day, so I got her 3 pairs of Vans. She likes Vans, that's her choice. But I got her a pair for now. She's got another pair for now. And then I got a pair for the next size and the next size after that. And that just sort of slots into next to the other ones that are already for the next sizes. So as the moment she's like, my shoes are too tight, she just go pull out 4 pairs of ones in the next size.
Wow. That must be nice for her.
But for little kids, that she doesn't care. She likes them. She likes little Vans skate high. Feels fun to her. She doesn't know anything about the brand. Doesn't know about the cost or anything like that. Because I'm not telling her, this is how much these things cost.
I do.
Because she's not asking. But she's not asking for it. If my kids ask for something, I'm like, you've got to justify why I should buy that for you.
Yeah.
If I've got loads of shoes, I can't have my children walking along looking like Oliver Twist. And
That's not nice when you see that, is it?
Nah.
No.
I hate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about yourself?
It's funny because when I first met my wife, the only pairs of shoes she had was a low pair of Converse All Stars. And I remember her meeting my mum, and my mum was talking to her and said, "Oh, you do know he's like obsessed with trainers." And she went, "You'll be wearing them soon." She's like, "I'll never wear trainers ever."
Really?
And now that's all she wears.
Wow.
And that's kind of how I get her off my back when I've bought too many. Just buy her a pair.
Buy her a pair.
And she's like, "Okay, cool."
Yeah.
For about 4 months, and then it's back on.
It's
I've made
interesting.
her sound like she's not. She doesn't care really.
I don't know. Like, she's
Yeah.
lovely. But it's interesting that you met someone who wasn't into it like you, and you were still, because it's a big part of your life, you were still kind of attracted to her.
But she's massive into fashion though.
Right. I got you.
So
Cool.
it's just an extension of that, I guess.
Yeah.
She now sees the design elements in shoes the way she does in clothes.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I've picked like 2 brands that I like to see my son in.
Yeah.
Which is Chinatown Market, which is now Just
Market, yeah.
And Carrots by Anwar Carrots, which I just really love. I think Carrots is the perfect teenage boy brand.
How old is he?
14. And also I justify that by I spend a lot of money. I spend less money on trousers because he grows quick.
Yeah.
More on t-shirts because once he's done with them, they then are mine.
Right,
So
okay.
I've got a wicked collection
Yeah.
and that's normally like my go-to. It's just a t-shirt. Like even if it's for work, like I'll put on like a smart skirt and a t-shirt. I went for a job interview the other day in a t-shirt.
Did you get it?
No.
I was wondering whether you were asking.
No, it was not. No, and a kimono. Not a kimono, not a cultural appropriate. It was a kimono. Anyway, it's just not going to sound good. But yeah, so I'm like, I'll buy smart for him because if I'm going to buy him something nice, like I know he's growing. I mean, I'm not all the time. Like I'll buy him Jordan stuff that I know is just going to like, he's going to grow out of it in a heartbeat. But yeah, t-shirts is where I'll spend the most money because I know that, and also like, old t-shirts are just something that I think they're just brilliant.
Timeless, yeah.
Yeah, they don't like crumble like apparently trainers do. I never knew that. But like a vintage t-shirt, if you look at the vintage t-shirt market now, like I think they're like a nice little investment.
Where do you go? Like I'm gonna write these down. So tell me where do you get the vintage? Where do you get the Liquid Swords t-shirts?
This is a Supreme one.
Okay.
I got it from Supreme.
Nice.
Okay. I don't want to really ask this question.
My go-to t-shirts are Carhartt. So this has got a massive screen print thing on the front.
Yeah.
I just really wore this for today.
Yeah.
I like just a Carhartt pocket t-shirt that just has a little pocket with a little logo on, and quite a lot of the time it has a big print on the back. I like a back print. That's my thing.
Mm.
Carhartt has 2 divisions.
Right.
It's got a workwear one where you can buy your work clothes from, and it's got a fashion line. So if you buy the fashion pocket t-shirt, it's like 35 quid.
Yeah.
There's obviously differences, but I'm a big boy, so I like the workwear one. It fits nicer.
Mm.
I'm never organised enough to like, this is Chinatown Market and Erica Badu. I was not organised enough for the drop. So I then had to buy this secondhand on eBay but it was cheap. It was cheaper than it was when
Really?
it was cheaper than it was when they
I'm
sold
surprised
it.
by that.
Yeah, I was like, what an idiot.
I don't like buying in a secondary market. If I miss it, I miss it. Like,
Yeah,
I'm too old for that now.
I
Like, I can't do it.
I can't bring
Can't
my-
justify
I
it.
won't go wild
No,
about
no.
it.
If it's cheaper, then cool. There's no problem. But like, especially with shoes, like they'll just jump, jump. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, if I've missed it on if I've entered every raffle and I've missed it, I've missed it. It's just not my shoe, and I'll just go for the next one I want.
But the things I've got secondhand around, like this, my Barack Obama Supreme things, they were all actually cheaper and pretty soon after the drop as well. It's
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
they just, and I think people, don't really want to say this, but I don't think people are really looking on eBay anymore. I think the obvious things are
They
like
are now.
Depop, Grailed. Yeah. Hopefully this episode won't have too much fun.
Yeah, you watch now everything you got better get
It's
anything
gonna
now.
go viral, baby. eBay's going crazy.
But yeah, so that's like quite a good spot. But I don't like really to spend a lot of money on clothes. I know that it seems silly for me to say that because it's like, you know, what I'm in, but I'll do it for my birthday and I'll buy myself a Christmas present. I'll buy Ty some stuff, but the rest of it, I'm more kind of like weird shit at the end of the sale is more my vibe. That's why I always look like I've just fallen in a charity shop bin.
Yeah, that's where you find the cool stuff. Like, this is from a charity shop. Do you know what I mean? Like, my wardrobe is a mix of like that high end skater stuff, like the Carrots, like the Market, like Brain
takes
Dead. I'm massive into
confidence,
Brain
innit?
Dead now, and vintage stuff. That's
But it does
Oh,
take
mate.
confidence. Like you said, I look like I've fallen out of what. It takes confidence to be able to walk out and say, yo, this is me. Come and approach me or find out who I am. That's why I wear like plain ass stuff that
Well,
anyone could be hiding. it.
I feel like you're like what Carnell wears 90% of the time. I feel like I'd look an idiot in it.
Right.
He looks superb, and it's the
oh, thanks, mate.
if I put it on, I'd feel like really sort of self-conscious and feel like I'm not me. I'm just quite plain, but it's, you know, I'll wear a grey hoodie, but it's going to be a Carhartt hoodie, and it's got such a small logo on it. It's not. I'm not wearing that for anybody else, really. Like,
I don't dress for other people.
No, me either.
I
People
probably
think I
should
do, but I
start.
don't.
I probably really should start because, like, it's probably not nice. Like, I went on a date once, and the guy's like, "I feel like I'm on a date with Stormzy."
turns up full red Adidas tracks.
Yeah,
Oh,
sliders and
Jesus. Oh, Jesus Christ.
so maybe,
stay?
I.
How long did the date last? Yeah.
Just told her to shut up. And went over. Sorry, that was too low
was
hanging
good, I
fruit.
liked
Low hanging
it.
fruit.
I
That was
liked
good,
it.
that was a good one. Cool.
I probably should start dressing for other people, but I dress for myself like a lot. It's for me. It's like it gives me confidence, but I really don't care whether it gets any compliments or not. Like recently, I've started dressing like a baby at home. Like I wear like baby pink shorts and a t-shirt like all the time. I feel like it makes me more productive for some weird reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't really dress for other people.
This is the thing. People think I do because of the way I dress, but I hate when people like this. Oh, I hate it. I don't know what to
Yeah.
say. Like, it's just a bit cringy. Like,
That's
someone stopped me in the street the other day. Like, excuse me, mate. Where'd you go?
People you don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
Like, my mum and my dad were known for how they dressed. It's kind of just part of who I am. Growing
Yeah.
up seeing that, so it's just part of. Elijah dress is completely different to me. He likes really plain stuff. Like, it's a brand called Folk.
I think he's
very
quite
clean
unique
cut.
from what I see him wearing.
Yeah, but he likes clean cut, minimalistic stuff.
Yeah.
I love me a bit of folk.
Yeah, I
when,
love
I'm feeling,
folk.
when I'm feeling grown up.
Yeah. Which is weird. Like, he's 16, he's into folk. Like,
I always think it's weird when people try and buy your clothes off of you.
weird.
Like,
yeah.
what do you
What?
think I'm gonna do? Like, do you like what?
People have approached you and said,
Yeah,
like, yo,
loads
like,
of
wear them
times.
shorts.
Yeah.
It's like a couple of things in particular. My Adidas Star Wars jumper all the time.
I'll get that Star Wars in it. Like, they're weird. Star Wars fans
Yeah,
are weird, man.
and do you know what I do? I'm like, I've never even seen it, mate.
You like the Star Trek?
That pisses them off, don't it? I bet they're vexed. I bet they're fuming.
But I always think, what do you think I'm gonna do? Go home like
Yeah. I don't think they even care, do they? They just want what you've got on.
I've got a pair of Adidas did a Star Wars shoe collection. Like, the shoes are all right and nice and everything. But they came in like the blister packs, like the toys did. I thought that nothing to do with nothing, but they were just, it was fun.
Yeah, they did like the Chewbacca ones. Didn't they?
Yeah, I've got a pair of Darth Vader ones.
Yeah. See, that was when like the outlet was good for, or like my best / weirdest stuff, like the outlet, the Adidas outlet. I used to be there all the time before I had things to do. All the time.
The outlet's not an outlet anymore, is it? It's just
No.
it's just another retail shop.
Yeah. A little bit cheaper. Just a big sale. It's just where all the sale stuff goes. Which I know that is kind of what an outlet is. But
No, but I was
but not even, do you know what I mean? Like,
described an outlet.
but like,
I was
not
in-
even a lot cheaper. Do you
I
know
was
what I
in
mean?
Yeah.
Freeport and I was looking at some Ultra Boost, and I'm sure they were like 130
Yeah.
quid. And I stood there, I'm like, I'm going to Google this, and I could found them online from about 5 different shops for 90 quid. And it's like, You're the outlet. You should be cheaper than everyone.
The internet's changed the game, hasn't it? I'm guessing early 2000s, 2003, 2004. Did you see the game change then? Did you enjoy the birth of the internet in your life to enable your addiction?
A website called Nike Talk.
Yeah.
That changed the game. That changed my life right there, because there's shoes from sort of your past that you'd, you know, I think we're all quite similar. You got one pair of shoes, that's it. You wouldn't have no luxuries. It might be your birthday, your Christmas. So there was always shoes that you wanted, you were never going to get. Yeah. You kind of just put that to the back of your mind. You've forgotten about them. I went on Nike Talk. I can remember just that first day spending hours of people like had posted up all these shoes. I'm like, oh my God, like a Nike Trainer SC2.
It triggers something, right?
That. Yeah, and
it really does.
And then I think that's when it became quite out of hand, in that I want all the retros of the shoes that I wanted and never got. Before that, you would just be buying sort of new shoes. You'd go to sort of JD Sports or All Sports or wherever it was.
I think as well, what changed, how the internet's changed the game in a bad way, is they used to do regional releases. Right. So, you know, like when your family go to America, they bring you stuff back you can't get in England.
Yeah.
Don't have that anymore. It's very rare, very rare. Like they'll do maybe one drop that's Asia only or whatever. Yeah. But so you can just get the same stuff here as you can in America. You can't get any exclusives anymore.
Because there was that annoying person right there. For us, it was T-Roy. He'd be like, my mum got me these for America, man. You would never get these. You'd be like, oh, damn. And it must have felt nice for him to, you know, to have that. There's me with CDs and HMV imports. You know what I mean? No one ain't got this.
So I didn't have the internet until quite late. Yeah. In terms of like the rest of the country, like I wasn't on Nike Talk. I missed that boat. I missed it completely.
Yeah.
So I was still like having to just go to London and hope, but never. It was very rare that I would get the ones I wanted.
The internet's just a worldwide cheat code, isn't it? It's great, but then it always gets to a point where that one thing just goes too far, and you have to get too much of it.
Yeah.
I think it's a very interesting point for brands, though. Like, I love to see how brands respond to this stuff, to respond to the conversations that their consumers are having, how their consumers are consuming. Not because I love business, because I don't, or capitalism, but I just think it's really interesting, like the psychology of the different responses that the internet provokes, like the Supreme drop becoming like a really high profile drop, to the point where it almost killed Supreme as a brand. Yeah. Like that to me is like so interesting. So I think that the internet is a really interesting place to watch, but not necessarily for like what's being sold, more like how it's being sold, who's doing well at selling stuff. Like I feel like End kind of just came out of nowhere. Was really quiet, and then suddenly got
they had a shop in Newcastle, didn't they? They had a really small shop in Newcastle. Then they moved to the bigger premises, and then I think they had the London one. I think they got one in Manchester now as well. But they've, even since they had their little tiny shop, they've had like collaborations with big brands, like going on for years and years. So even when they were a small physical actual shop, they still had this huge online presence.
Yeah. I don't always love an End collab though.
Oh, I don't like most of them.
I always find them a bit. I might like the stuff, but then I won't buy it because it's like a shop collab, and I just find it a bit weird what End represents to me. Like the End Clark's collab, I loved, but like
some of the best collabs in all shoes are from shops, like the End.
Yeah, because they know the consumer. More. Do you know what I mean? Like especially like the community, they know what they're looking for more. Yeah. I tend to find anyway.
Yeah.
How do you feel about these big brands doing collaborations? Is it more like, is it a bit like in music, Drake collaborating with the new young cat from the UK to try and steal a bit of their kind of cultural capital?
I can't deal with
Is that kind of what they do? Like, because Nike, they're, 1970s brand, run and shoe. They need to keep cool. And there's lots of ways they need
Travis
to try
Scott
and do
is their guy right now, like. He's their dude.
Do the collabs kind of make you roll your eyes and go, oh, stop trying it? Like,
I mean, quite a lot of them are just pointless. They're just a name for the sake of the name. But some of them come out and you're like, oh, that's nice. That's you put some effort into that.
Yeah.
But half the time it's like you've designed a shoe and then you've made up a story on the back end of it, and it's like it doesn't make any sense. But you can see that there's so many collabs coming out now, where before they were quite rare and they'd sell out instantly. You get quite often sort of sitting and not doing anything.
Yeah.
No, right.
I mean, Travis Scott is a phenomenon I've never, ever understood.
Yeah.
I hate his music. I
a
don't
weird-
think he's
it's a
got
weird
much
guy
to
as
say
well,
for himself.
Yeah, he's a weird guy.
I don't get it. I don't get it. And I don't get how, after the Astro World thing, I mean...
Yeah, that's gotten forgotten quick.
I thought actually, I mean, I wasn't happy. I don't want him to think that he's a murderer because I don't think he is. I think he could have done better. But I was like, oh, thank God. That's it. It's going to go quiet. But the fact that he's done released another load of things and everyone's still eating it up. I don't understand it.
Like, it was the anniversary of the dunk was coming up, and every now and you just see him in vintage SB dunks.
Yeah.
That he clearly, well, I say clearly, my assumption is he doesn't know about these shoes. He's being told to wear them by representatives, wear these at this event, so they'll get noticed, and then the buzz starts to build. Yeah. And it worked massively. Like, the dunks blew up again. I mean, I'm wearing a pair right now. Do you know what I mean? Like, they just got big again, whereas they'd been gone for a long time. SB dunks were being made, limited numbers, but no one was buying them because it wasn't the in shoe at the time.
Yeah.
And then they've given him like the high profile Jordans to collaborate on 1s, 4s, 6s. Like, I don't feel like he warranted having those shoes.
Ooh.
Because in terms of the shoe world, what had he done before that?
Yeah.
And I felt like that, what you said about like just slapping a name on a collaboration just to kind of create a buzz to stay relevant to the young market. That's what they did. Because Adidas obviously had Kanye at the time.
Yeah.
Because I hate dunks, I feel those are exactly the shoes he deserved.
I don't really like dunks.
They don't hold their shape.
I love dunks. But you wear Air Force Ones, man. They don't hold their shape.
True that, but I buy a new pair every 6 months.
Dunks were kind of when I was able to buy what I wanted. That was a shoe I'd go for.
Yeah,
and then the SB dunks were just like sitting hoax. You could get them easily.
You guys were mentioning earlier that the vintage trainers seem to be the retro. Sorry, is that the right language? The retro is not
Retro,
vintage.
yeah.
They're the ones that are hot and have always kind of. The new ones don't necessarily have that same pull, no matter what they do. Do you think it's the not the lifestyle, but the culture they represented at the time? Because in the 90s, lots of interesting people were around. The 80s, lots of interesting cultural figures, sports figures, political figures, movements. And in the last 20 years, things haven't really moved in that direction for us to attach meaning to.
I kind of disagree with you because I think that we had Black Lives Matter, but which was so instantly co-opted into the mainstream that it never really got the chance to become as much of a political. It because it prompted so many responses from different brands, instant responses.
Did any brands
Do you
really
think they were
affiliate
genuine,
with that movement?
Yeah, I don't think they were genuine. No, I think they had to respond, and they had to respond very, very quickly.
It didn't come across I didn't notice any brands.
They all
affiliating
made
with it.
promises about diversifying and stuff like that, and so I think that there has been a political movement, but I think it was co-opted so quickly into the mainstream that they made promises, but they didn't align kind of the product with that.
Yeah.
So I think it's a really interesting one because I think what it has done is prompted a lot of collaborations with perhaps lesser known designers. I think it's made things like the appointment of Pharrell at Louis Vuitton possible. Even though Virgil was there before, I think for Louis Vuitton to be able to say that there's been 2 black designers.
And they jumped straight back in as well.
How did you feel about that appointment?
I found it interesting. I found it really interesting that the most high-profile menswear designer is not an actual fashion designer.
You've given a really politician answer there. Interesting.
I found the language that they used to discuss it really intriguing. I said this to someone the other day, but there was a lot of things women wear daily, Business of Fashion all described that Louis Vuitton had tapped Pharrell, which I found really problematic because it was like tapping him like a resource.
Yeah.
And I do think some of the things that Pharrell's done with like Nego and Human Made over the years, Bape, Billionaire Boys Club, he's done some really good stuff. Should he be the
High end though.
Should he be the head designer at Louis Vuitton?
Yeah.
For me, no.
Yeah.
And also, you know, he's already been accused of plagiarism from a black woman designer, which
Really?
I think it's a very interesting time because there's a lot of like hyper visible examples of diversity, but are they genuine? And like, I was going to ask you lot about if you'd seen the PM Moss collab with Reebok. Because he did 4 seasons with Reebok, and a really interesting article just came out about the lead designer of PMOS, Kirby Jean Raymond, in The Cut, which was written by a black woman, and it really tore him apart. Right. It said that he was a bad businessman, he couldn't deliver on deadlines, he had an ostentatious lifestyle, he had no real product. And I just thought, for God's sake, this is an actual designer.
Yeah.
Why? He's spoken out also about having mental health problems in the past. He suddenly got projected to this huge high profile stage. Why are we not protecting this man?
That's why, because he's not protected, is he? So he's an easy, if you got to pull someone apart, that's where you're going.
He was also the first black designer in 123 years of the haute couture syndicale to present a collection. He has really like made ground. His campaigns are genuine, they are for the culture. He doesn't give a fuck about whether people like him or not. So I think that's part of the problem. But
people don't like that. That's that confidence, arrogance thing, isn't it? Like, people see that confidence. I don't care whether you like me or not.
Yeah.
And they see that as being rude or arrogant or any of that.
But the things like, there's allegations of drug use. Yeah, he'd let his designers smoke weed. Oh, he's bad with his money. He's too flashy and he hasn't got anything to back it up. We hear these narratives just used to discuss black people across the board everywhere. Yeah. I was like, can people not hear? Yeah. You know, we have to do this critical thinking when we're hearing this, but I'm still annoyed about that article. I'm fuming about it.
Yeah, I do. I love Pierre Moss, and I did pay attention to the Reebok stuff. It wasn't for me. Some of it was. I think it was the last shoes he did. They were really cool. Yeah. And they sold out quick time, and that's why I didn't get them under price as well.
But you know what they say? They say that... So normally we'd say, oh, Supreme sold out of everything. They sold out of everything. What they say is he never actually had that much product. That's why it sold out. What the article in The Cut is really interesting to read. It's horrible undertones.
I mean, anyone selling out Reebok is doing well because Reebok is trash.
Yeah. Yeah.
Reebok used to be the brand back in the day, man. I remember when they had like...
Cutting around in your classics.
Yeah. Even before the classics. I remember like... Funnily enough, pumps, like Step Reebok as a brand made that brand really quite big, and had the Reebok 5s, football teams, and the brand was around. You know what I mean? I had Reebok shell suit, purple and green. I wasn't ashamed of that. And I remember when Reebok stopped being popular, and I didn't notice yet. And they were cheap. And I got a picture.
No one told you.
No one told me, and I got a photograph. And Leanne's pregnant with our son, so it must be 2009. And I got these like purple, black and white Reeboks on. I thought they were bad, and I picked them up for about £20. And then I realised,
that's why they're £20.
I just thought I just found something like what you guys were like. Yeah, no one knows about this. But...
Do you know what's interesting when you talk? You started off by saying that you're not as fashionable as everyone else. You're not wearing this.
Yeah.
I think that in your life you've had key, quite traumatic moments with fashion.
Every
Which just made you not want to kind of like, do you know what I mean? I don't think it's just like I can't or I won't or I simply don't care, or it's about money. I think the same way that we're talking about aligning it with like joy and like self-fulfillment, and you've said that as well, but I think there's also been some moments where that's been the opposite for you, and maybe that's why you
just play it safe,
indulge in the same way.
I think there's some truth to that. There is definitely some truth to that. But then on the flip side, I don't see money if it's to buy. I spent stupid money last week on gear that no one even knows I got. but I don't see money when it comes to that. But if I see a pair of trainers, I'm like, yo, how come Air Force One's £120? I'm not spending that. I'm not spending that on trainers.
I'm similar in but in other ways.
Yeah.
Like I won't see it with clothes or shoes.
No.
Especially jeans. I don't know how many pairs of jeans I've got, but in my head I'm like, yeah, but jeans will last me forever.
Yeah.
If I buy a good pair of Selfish denim, it's going to last me forever. But then I've got like too many pairs to last me forever. Do you know what I mean? Like, what is the point?
See, if there's one thing I love, is fakes. I love fakes. I think fakes are so interesting and they're so fun. The best versions of designer stuff is all fake, because even if it's got a little spelling mistake in it, for me that's fucking hilarious. Like I want that it just because of that. So like,
is that why you like Market?
Kinda.
They kind of toughen that a little bit, don't they?
Yeah, but I also just like things with a smiley face on it as well. Like anything with a smiley face on, I'll probably buy. But like in Jamaica, that was like my dream shopping experience, because you're just surrounded by like the best worst fakes everywhere. Like
the
it
best,
was
worst, yeah,
just just a dream. Like every time I've gone back, it's
Gucci
been
with a Y,
it's been with a bigger and bigger budget. But then what's interesting
Versace.
as well is that the brands themselves jumped on
Gucci
it
did it, didn't they?
and
Yeah.
did
What do you
their own. Like Gucci did
Fake
Gucci
Gucci.
with a Y,
Oh my God.
and then they did
Like,
like
they had the bag with like fake spray painted on it as well.
yeah, they did the Fendachi thing where Fendi and Versace
Gotcha.
did a collab.
Yeah.
So like now it's like people don't even
No,
know
yeah.
that it's a fake.
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, that whole play on it is really fun as well, I think. But also, like, what are you doing walking around with that kind of gear on you when you don't own a house? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, there's priorities and stuff. And even though I work in fashion, like spending ridiculous money on fashion is not where it's at.
Yeah.
And then
I'm
what's
not
that
having
really
that.
saying? Like, I don't stand for that. I don't even know who these people are, but something deep down in my soul knows that they don't really represent who I am. And sometimes that's my big issue with a lot of these things.
I mean, I've got some real stuff, but I would prefer to invest also in like black-owned brands. So like the Telfar. All right, that's not a lot of money. I've got a Off-White bag, which I think is a worthwhile investment. Like that's now worth a lot more.
How much did that cost you?
Did you buy it before?
Come on,
or
you
after
gotta
you
say,
passed?
you said you got it.
I bought it before, and I mean, all right, fine, okay. It's not. Probably Virgil didn't get the money because I did buy it secondhand, but it was actually only £600, and it's worth about £3,500. What are you laughing for? These men have 250 pairs of trainers.
£600 on one bag though.
Yeah, but what do you think that adds up to?
Gosh, that's frightening. That's just frightening. It's frightening.
But I think
And you can't like.
But that has got the dust bag. Like I could firstly I could
But you ain't
resell
gonna
that.
sell that, though.
No, I'm not going
That's
to.
what
And
you're all
also,
saying.
and
You're going,
also,
my collector's worth. It don't mean nothing.
but
You're
do
not
you know
selling
what?
it,
Do you know what else, Eli? I'm also not gonna like madly protect that bag and never take it out of the house. I mean, yeah, if I take it out of the
That's
house,
what I
it
was
will
gonna
always
say.
have a seat at the table. It's not going on the floor.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not going to be like silly about it, but I think it's nice. It'd be nice for hopefully maybe I'll have a granddaughter
it's the
one
same
day.
Though, like, if you're passionate about something and it's part of like your, I don't want to say your identity, but it kind of
But
is.
it is, yeah, it's definitely
Then-
an extension of your identity. Do you think there must be opportunities for you both to exploit your kind of collections and promote yourselves in a way and maybe make something of it? Has that ever been tempting?
that sounds like a lot of hard
Well,
work.
yeah. So many people said that to me. You could be an influencer. Why do I want to do that? I don't want to influence anyone to do anything.
I was more thinking put a presentation together and do a guest lecture. There's not many people with there is a lot of people.
I'm quite nerdy as well, like Dawson, and I like the culture and stuff. When I was studying music, that my big thing and what I then taught was context. Why does music sound the way it sounds?
Yeah.
What's going on in the world that made writers write and produced the way they did? But I just don't have the time. I'd love to do that.
The conversations that we need to be having is what are we buying, where are we buying it from, and who's getting paid, but also how are we buying? Because I think that particularly with the sustainability conversation, it's only going to change if we change the values in the way we buy.
Yeah.
So instead of saying like, oh, I've got 20 tops from Primark or whatever. Like maybe you only buy one thing a year. It might cost you £250. It might be, but maybe like you've researched that brand backstory. You really like align yourself with the whole brand ethos and whatever it's about. Not just because for me, like I would aim for it to be black owned, but you know, for whatever reason. But I think that if we are going to turn this whole bullshit fashion thing around, that is what we need to start doing and respecting about each other. Not like, whoa, you've got so much, or you've got 10 bags. It's more, you know, the value of how we're buying stuff. I think those are really important conversations that we need to start.
I think I made a change consciously to, like you say, rather than buying cheap more, buy expensive less. Mm-hmm. If the quality is obviously, you can buy expensive and the quality is terrible. Unfortunately, as well, I have expensive taste. I'll see something, oh, that's incredible. Look at it, and it's like, I can't afford that. Right? I just can't do it. Like Capital's one of my favourite brands, and I just can't afford anything they sell. It's just like ridiculously priced. But the problem with a lot of that as well is it's Japan, so there's like the transport of it coming over here as well. It's like,
what about renting? Is that a big thing in fashion? The brands rent.
I ain't wearing next man's clothes. No
You should
way.
just turn her lip up. Because
there are. What's that? There's like a website, isn't there? What's it called?
I don't know.
There's one
because
that
I
like
wouldn't
you
do
can
it.
definitely like rent a handbag. And I think you can like rent big dresses. That makes sense to me.
Surely
you know, like
that's
a big
the ultimate
kind
thing
of
to do if you want to be sustainable, responsible.
People have said to me, "Why don't you put your clothes in there?" I'm like, "No way."
Yeah, I don't want to wear something that someone else has worn.
See, I'd possibly rent a dress. I mean,
a dress I could get because that's
it's like renting a suit for us, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. You know, I'd go to Moss Bros if it's a wedding. You know, you're part of the bridal party. You get a rental suit, and I feel that's comparable. But something, I don't want to wear a t-shirt or a jumper.
Yeah, no.
I think renting could suit me because then it gives people an opportunity to try something that or experiment with a look that they don't necessarily want to fully invest in.
Yeah. But yeah, if I finally get invited to Guap Gala, which is definitely coming, maybe not this year because I think the invites have already gone out. But I think next time it's like it's like just a cultural magazine, culture Instagram thing, but it's taken off. They're doing some important things. You should have a look at them. But yeah, like I'd rent something for that because what am I spending like thousands and thousands on a frigging ball gown for?
Oh, so it's like the Met Gala kind of thing, right?
Well,
but better,
I mean,
but cool.
Yeah, definitely.
It's cool, still a cool word.
But like, and also like, if I wear that ball gown, then I probably would put a picture of it on. I'm not going to wear the same ball gown to, you know.
Did you see there was some lady, I can't remember where she was going, some event in America, and she's quite a big lady. She like did a video on Instagram and like said, Lizzo, I saw that dress you wore, like, you've got to let me have this dress. And Lizzo sent her the dress.
What?
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
she
I
wore it to
saw
some
that.
event.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Wow.
But I wouldn't rent a bag.
You wouldn't rent a bag?
No, I wouldn't.
But you were saying that's probably the most successful.
Well, I think that's a thing, though, isn't it? I'm
it's a thing.
Yeah.
I think you'd have like a subscription service. I'm sure I remember seeing something like that.
For sure.
Like you pay a certain amount each month, like Netflix. You send your bag back, you get another one, or something like that.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine doing that.
No, because I
can get why it would appeal to some people.
But some people want to impress strangers. Like really, that's their goal, isn't it? They walk out the house. They really care what other people think.
Yeah.
So you got into socks as well?
Yeah. Oh, socks. Yeah, that's another one. Yeah. Like I like a nice Japanese hand-linked toe chop sock. Like, ooh, that's the boys. I did actually. I bought you a present talking about this.
What?
Aww.
There you go, the APC bag.
Crispy.
So I didn't know who would be here, so I bought 3 pairs.
Wow. They'd be wasted on me, my brother, because I was just like,
Bet you don't want to give me one now. Just called you a denim wanker.
hey!
Oh,
I come back more often.
thank you.
It's the first gift I've ever had on
Oh
the
yeah,
show.
baby.
See, like a Burlington sock, right? That's the sock from the 80s when Argyle socks. People pin-rolled their jeans, had an Argyle sock underneath. It was Burlington.
And what colours shoes would I wear with these?
Like, you just wear whatever you want, like it's a sock. That just accentuate your outfit.
I like this. These are nice, man.
But see, like they've got a little stud on them.
Yeah.
That was the thing. So you could pin roll your jeans. You'd see the little stud. He's got a nice
Oh,
little
folk
sock.
socks have a
Thank
little
you
button,
very
don't
much.
they?
That's
Yeah,
lovely.
yeah.
No way.
Can you tell us about these ones?
That's just a stance. I mean, just that's like the that became this huge phenomenon of stance socks. Like they've got like collabs with everything, like from Rick and Morty, Star Wars.
Wow.
But more so, I wear them for work. I don't really wear them any other times. The toe doesn't have those little bobbly bits in a corner.
Oh, right.
So it's just smooth around.
around it,
So they're
nice.
super comfortable.
No way.
Yeah,
And
I
obviously-
didn't. I was very much like just socks and let's buy some socks from wherever. And then I think when we went to Crep City, we got into the conversation of socks. And I think I won a pair of stance socks. And he's like, when you put on a pair of comfortable socks, you'll know. And I
I
put them, I was
imagine,
like,
yeah.
oh yeah, I do know.
Yeah. I
And ever since then, it's just,
Wow.
You should write a book. Do you know that?
No, see, my friend Whitfield, he wrote a book about socks. The Rules of Socks.
No.
It's a legitimate book, and we had a whole thing called Sock Club. There was a membership card. There were parties. Like,
Oh, wow.
that's another whole like real niche nerdy thing. Like you can be buying if you go on sort of end, you can buy chap socks for like 25, 30 quid. I've got loads of them. So like it's just another thing to like waste your money on that absolutely no one's gonna know. Like they might see them, they're gonna think, oh, he's got some Christmas socks on or whatever it may be, just got some jazzy socks. But that's a very personal thing that, you know, I've spent that money. No, but that's not impressing a single person.
Yeah.
I know a guy who wrote a book about denim, like the little button things that you have on
the
them.
rivets.
Yeah, like rivet zips, like all like details.
Oh, the details, yeah.
Like denim, like the history of denim details. It did really well. But yeah, it's like it's very niche. But you've got a lot of knowledge, and I feel like you should be sharing it with the world.
I mean, this is just things that I probably found from books or just sort of lived through. But yeah, there is already a sock book there. I did actually look for that because I've got another copy of it, but I couldn't find it.
Well, I really appreciate the gift.
Yeah, thank
I'm
you.
Yeah,
super
thank you.
impressed.
That's
Thank you
so
very much.
cute.
I want to thank you guys for coming on because it's getting really hot in the studio right now. But
Yeah, I'm
like,
feeling
the
it, to be
conversation
honest.
today, I'm going to go back through. I'm sure a lot of our viewers are going to go back through and watch. So before we go, could you kind of shout out your links if you want to promote your links, but also maybe give our viewers some interesting places to go to invest in what we've been talking about today?
I've got into Brain Dead recently, like massively. Just cool things and pleasures as well. It's not super expensive, but they have some really cool stuff. But then they have some really dreadful stuff. So
I remember they had like a shiny black PVC looking like kind of bondage jacket.
Yeah.
Like that was the first time I ever saw that brand.
was that pleasures?
Yeah.
Yeah, some of it
I'm
is
having
like
nothing
that,
to do with
yeah.
that.
So
They did like a cool Outcast shirt.
you said pleasures and
Brain Dead.
Brain Dead. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Nice one.
I mean, it's got to be Carhartt. But if you go on MI Supplies, you can get yourself a Carhartt pocket tee for about 18 quid in all the colours. And that's just a perfect, nice, lifelong T-shirt.
All right. So finally then, who would you recommend? I'm hoping you're going to give us some designers. You gave us some good ones last time. We put them in the link.
Oh, designers you want? Okay.
Or no.
I'll give you carrots because I've said that already. And obviously I'll shout out Pierre Moss. But what I was going to say is there's a book called The Black Culture Industry by Ellis Cashmore, which I think really, it kind of questions it talks mostly about music, but it kind of talks about how the culture's been commodified, and it looks at whether that commodification is empowering or problematic. So that is one thing I'd recommend.
That's a really interesting conversation.
Yeah, really, it is. Maybe part 2.
I'm going to upset you. Definitely part 2. But I'm going to download that on my Kindle. I'm not going to buy it. I know you like collecting books, but
You
I'll
might not be
definitely
able
get
to. I don't know. You might not be able to get
Is it written from an English or American point perspective?
It's American. I'm working on the English side of that
So I feel like
conversation.
that's quite different, isn't it? Like,
Yeah. Also, The Birth of Cool by Professor Carol Tulloch, which talks about she picks specific people through history, so Jamaican Higgler, Malcolm X, Billie Holiday, and she looks at how they styled themselves with specific items, and she really reads into each one. So those books, I think, if anyone was interested
cool.
in this, and also just to underpin the whole thing, you said it earlier, and I don't think you even realised, but you said cultural capital,
Yeah.
which is a term by Bourdieu.
Yeah.
In his book Distinction, where he talks about taste and class and how things become valuable and how we're educated to have these kind of values of value. So if anyone wants some really like meaty philosophy that they'll probably never even finish. I mean,
I quoted lots of that in university. It's probably in my dissertation somewhere. But
big on the old Bourdieu,
yeah.
You can explain it to me.
I think it's time to go. I think we need a part 2 though, because there's so much more we could go to, and like with air conditioning too, that'd be amazing. So thank you all for coming down. We're gonna check everything you guys have got out. I'll link everything that you've got if that's what you want. But this is where the keys at, and we are out. Peace.
Peace.
Bye.
Where the keys at?